For years, Divide Impera has been my favorite overhaul of all time, not just for Total War Rome 2, but all the games. And it's known for the work the team have done, obviously, on the Grand Campaign and its associated DLCs, but now the DEI team is turning their attention to one of the most chaotic and fascinating eras of Roman history, the 3rd century crisis. The long-anticipated and much-requested DEI treatment and overhaul to the Empire Divided campaign is finally in the works. In a new beta launching this summer, players will get their first look at a bare bones but fully playable overhaul of Empire Divided, laying the groundwork for what promises to be one of the most ambitious Total War campaigns yet. This is much more than a balance pass of just a few units here and there or some factions. It is the start of a full reimagining of the late Roman world, a collapsing empire, regional warlords, rogue generals, and cultural upheaval, a true test of survival for even the most experienced Total War campaigners. The first release of the Empire Divided overhaul will be modest in scope with a playable foundation and early stage unit changes, but the strategic depth and historical intent that define DEI are already taking shape. At the campaign level, you'll immediately feel the instability of the 3rd century. Rome is fractured, east, west, Palmyra, all kind of falling apart, and everybody's fighting at every corner of the world. And what was once a unified empire is now a patchwork of failing states, rebellious generals, and foreign powers pressing at every border. And rather than focusing on superficial tweaks, the DEI team is building a new framework to represent this era authentically. That includes major internal mechanics like cult influence, general loyalty, and even evolving forms of government, all built on top of a completely redone unit system. This isn't the clean, orderly Rome of earlier campaigns. This is Rome in decline, and your role isn't just to expand, but to hold together a crumbling world. While the unit rosters for the full campaign are still in early development, the long-term plan is a total overhaul. That means custom units, rebalanced stats, and historically grounded compositions for each major faction. The immediate focus will be on the Romans and Germans, as their roles were most critical during this period, but over time, the DEI team will expand the overhaul to include the Palmyranese, the Sassanids, Gallic factions, and more. The process begins by creating custom entries using DEI's existing unit framework, gradually phasing in new models, stats, and compositions that better reflect the warfare of the late 3rd century, and that means lighter equipment, more regional diversity, and units built less for glory and more for survival. Expect a battlefield where loyalty is as fragile as armor, and armies are shaped as much by internal politics as by external threats. Also, Empire Divided's built-in cult mechanic is being taken much further in this DEI version. The idea is simple but powerful. In a time of spiritual fragmentation and religious competition, cults mattered so much, not just in temples, but in politics, military loyalty, and the daily function of the empire. So the DEI team plans to expand all of this by adding new cults, new traits for characters, and faction-specific cultural bonuses that make managing cult influence far more complex. For example, the Western Roman empires will center around the imperial cult, anchoring loyalty to the emperor as both a political and religious figure, which is just so cool. And Palmyra will have its own unique cultural religious identity, further emphasizing its semi-independent role in the East. Importantly, cult buildings will be even more prevalent at the start of the game, and they won't be removable, forcing players to engage with the mechanic directly and navigate the cultural fault lines of the Empire. And to reflect the age of the barracks emperors, the DEI team is introducing a loyalty system for Roman factions. It works as loyalty across political parties that will spike after victories, but individual generals will gain traits that decrease loyalty over time as well, especially as they rise in fame. What this does is introduce a real power dynamic. A winning general becomes a threat. Every battle you win may help you on the map, but could fracture your empire even further from within. And managing these tensions will be key to surviving the campaign, not just militarily, but politically as well. Finally, instead of switching government types, Roman factions and possibly the Sassanids will unlock government actions. While still in early concept phase, these are envisioned as one-off or recurring choices that reflect historical events like military reforms, senatorial purges, or religious edicts. It's not about picking a government form, it's about managing the chaotic decisions of late imperial rule. Overall, everything here just sounds amazing. This is just the beginning too. The Empire Divided Overhaul is still in beta form, and what players will experience this summer is essentially a foundation, not a final product. But that foundation already carries the hallmarks of what makes Divide and Impera such a great mod. Historical realism, mechanical depth, and a dedication to bringing every time period to life with care and authenticity. And honestly, anything that the Divide and Impera team touches for me just is pure gold. The Grand Campaign is a classic example of the depth of their work, the detail, the authenticity, the challenge that they bring to a lot of these factions, but they've done some incredible work for the Rise of the Republic campaign. Their Alexander and Mithridates campaigns are just as brilliant and beautiful as well. So to know after all these years that finally the Empire Divided DLC is going to get this treatment as well, I think is really, really exciting. I can't wait to see what this is going to turn out to be, how it's going to unfold, and, you know, future updates for it as well. You know, we probably don't even know the full extent of how much work that the DEI team is going to be putting into the Empire Divided campaign. So this is a very exciting time for DEI, and I'm really looking forward to it. You know, I've been playing this for a long time, and I've always wanted Empire Divided to finally get this update, and it's happening. So let's see what happens. Let's see what if there's more news coming out, if they're going to reveal a bit more detail about what they're working on. And finally, of course, when the update comes out, I will be here playing it and showcasing all the new features and different faction kind of changes, unit rosters, etc. The Empire Divided campaign is one of the most ambitious projects the team has ever taken on. There are going to be issues, of course, bugs, and things still need to be ironed out and polished through player feedback and reporting, but it spans dozens of factions, years of political chaos, and a complete rewrite of how the game functions at almost every level. It's going to be amazing, and after a long time, it is finally happening. Stay tuned to all of this for more mod news, this update, and when it's going to be releasing by subscribing to the mod, subscribing to the channel, obviously, and joining the Discord. And if you have something to offer, step forward. This is the kind of project that only happens when passionate people come together for a shared goal. And that's it for today, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this video and found it informative. If you did, give it a like, drop any thoughts or questions in the comment section below, and let me know what other mods you'd like me to cover in the channel next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.